All right, let's talk about 2023. This was the year generative AI completely stormed the world of software development. It was this incredible supercharging force, but it also got, well, complicated. Talk about a wild ride. We got incredible speed, yeah, but it also forced us to hit the brakes and ask some really, really tough questions.
I mean, the year just kicked off with an absolute bang. In January, ChatGPT became the fastest growing consumer app in history, ever, hitting 100 million users. And this wasn't just some niche tech nerd thing, you know? This was everybody. It put the crazy power of large language models right into the hands of anyone with a web browser. And that just lit a fire under everyone. It set off this rapid fire chain reaction. Just a month later, you have Google jumping in, announcing its rival, Bard. And then by March, the open source world fires back with AutoGPT, this wild experimental AI agent. The race was officially on, and it was setting the stage for a total revolution.
So you have this huge tidal wave of public excitement, right? And it didn't just stay with the public, it crashed right into the professional world. And you know what? Nowhere was that impact felt more immediately or more intensely than in the day to day life of a software developer.
And this was the perfect storm for the rise of the AI pair programmer, with GitHub Copilot right at the front of the pack. Now, Copilot had been around since 2021, but in 2023, its popularity just exploded as developers were suddenly scrambling to get this new AI power working for them, right inside their workflow. And the scale of its impact? Absolutely stunning. In less than 2 years, GitHub Copilot was already writing a staggering 46% of the code for developers using it. Just let that sink in for a second. Almost half the code being suggested by an AI. And the speed? Oh, the speed was undeniable. We're talking about formal studies showing that developers using Copilot were coding up to 55% faster than their peers who weren't. We're not talking about a little bump here. This was a massive leap in productivity. But you know, it wasn't just about cranking out code faster. A survey of over 2,000 developers showed the real human side of this. Sure, 88% felt more productive, but 77% were also spending way less time on Google and Stack Overflow, and a huge 74% felt they could finally focus on the fun stuff, the creative problem solving, instead of all that boring, repetitive boilerplate code. And here's what's really cool. Copilot was so much more than just a glorified autocomplete. It had a full-on chat interface to explain or fix code. It could give you suggestions right in your command line. It even wrote summaries for your pull requests. It was becoming this indispensable partner through the entire coding process. Okay, so everything's looking amazing, right? But as this thing just exploded in popularity, a darker, kind of more complicated side started to show itself. The very same speed and convenience that made it so awesome also introduced a whole new class of risks. And this led to the big, looming question that the entire industry started to ask. Are we actually building better software faster, or are we just building flawed, insecure software at a terrifying new speed? And we got our first huge public red flag from Samsung. In May, some of their employees accidentally pasted sensitive company data. We're talking proprietary source code, internal meeting notes, directly into ChatGPT. The reaction? It was swift and brutal. Samsung just banned the tools, period.
Yeah, and the Samsung thing? It wasn't a one-off. A pretty clear pattern of problems started to pop up. We saw over 100,000 ChatGPT accounts get stolen by malware. Cybercriminals were caught using it to help write malicious code. And get this, researchers even found a way to basically trick ChatGPT into coughing up private info from its training data. Yikes.
So you might think, okay, that's just people being careless. But nope. The problem was also in the code the AI was writing. A formal study on Copilot's code suggestions was frankly alarming. It found that a mind-blowing 44% of the code it spat out had potential security holes in it. Things got so serious that governments started to step in. Citing major worries about data collection and GDPR rules, Italy's Data Protection Authority took the pretty drastic step of banning ChatGPT from the entire country for a while. So imagine you're a developer in the middle of all this. You're left in this really tough spot, and a huge debate erupted in the community. Do you embrace it? Do you trust but verify every single line? Or do you just stay away from it altogether? And a lot of that talk boiled down to the two big players.
On one side, you've got ChatGPT, this general-purpose powerhouse that's great for figuring out logic, but you're constantly copy-pasting code. And on the other, you've got Copilot, which lives right inside your editor and is built for pure, unadulterated coding speed.
On one side, you had tons of developers who just loved how seamless Copilot was. As one Reddit user put it, having that chat experience right there in your editor is the gold standard coding assistant. But on the flip side, not everyone was a fan. Another developer vented that Copilot won't shut up with the wrong code, saying it was actually just disruptive when they were trying to think. But the smartest take that kind of started to bubble up was that it wasn't an either-or situation. Like, this user nailed it. They use both, but for different things. GPT for thinking through logic, and Copilot for pure speed. So where does that leave us? How is the industry actually dealing with this new reality where your coding partner is an AI? How do you keep all those amazing productivity gains while trying to manage these very, very real risks?
Well, the AI companies definitely felt the heat, and they started to respond. OpenAI kicked off a bug bounty program to find flaws, and they added new privacy controls, like letting you opt out of saving your chats. Meanwhile, some big companies, like Samsung, just threw up their hands and said, fine, we'll build our own in-house AI to keep our data safe. So a kind of consensus started to form around a new set of rules for playing in this AI sandbox safely. It starts with training, teaching people what you can and can't share. It means learning to be smarter about your prompts, using generic data instead of the real stuff. And for a lot of places, it means putting up some technical guardrails, like tools that just block sensitive data from ever leaving. And all of this brings us to one final, really provocative question. Because for all this progress, we still haven't figured out the biggest question of all. Accountability. When insecure code written by an AI leads to a massive data breach, who's on the hook? The developer who accepted the suggestion? Their company? The AI company that built the tool? It's a question we're all going to have to answer as we keep coding in this new AI era.